You are listening to Happy Families with Principal Lisa, only on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Welcome to Happy Families with Principal Lisa. I'm Lisa and I'm going to be with you for the next hour. Keep it at Pearl 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE. It's going to be great to have you with me for the next hour. On this week's show, we're going to discuss how to stay fit as a family, how to enjoy exercise with your children, and what's available to you in the UAE. Now today in the studio, I'm joined by a mum who I greatly admire, who was once awarded a large sum of money for her ability to compete in a race whilst pushing her young baby in a buggy. And I'm also joined by our nursery's fitness coach, Muff from Teddy Tennis. And he's a business owner of a wonderful children's sports company who's very passionate about sport. So we're going to hear from them in just a moment. You're listening to 102 Pearl FM, number one fun station in the UAE. We'll be right back.
You are tuned into Happy Families with Principal Lisa, only on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Hi, welcome back everybody. You're listening to Happy Families with Principal Lisa, 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE. Now today on the show, we're joined by two wonderful sporty fitness people. One of a mum who I greatly admire and know. She works with me in the nursery, but she has a personal story that has inspired me for a long time. She really gets involved with keeping active with her little girl Yasmin, and once won a large sum of money for her incredible determination. But I'm also joined by a business owner and sporty fitness coach from Teddy Tennis. So welcome to the show. Nice to have you with us, Jana.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And lovely to see you, Muff.
Thank you very much, Lisa. Thanks for having us on the show.
So, Jana, you took part in a race that changed your life as a family. Tell us about your family.
Well, my husband is a runner. He's a professional athlete, and I'm just like a amateur runner who likes to run. Like, that's my lifestyle choice. That's my sport of choice.
But didn't you meet your husband running?
Yes,
we
met in a running club. Yes,
okay,
and that's how we moved forward as a family. And I've been keeping active ever since, even before we met, but even after we met, during my pregnancy and after the birth of my child, I've been still keeping active.
So you were running. So you met. There you are. You join a running club. You're here in Dubai. You've been in Dubai how many years?
19 years.
19 years. So you know everything. I hope you'll pass some tips on to me, relative newbie at 3 years. But so there you are. You met your husband in the running club and you get married and then you get pregnant, but you continued to run.
I still participated in races, but by walking, not by running. Yeah, so I still took part in events. I just completed the whole distance by walk, not by run, during the pregnancy. And after the delivery, I was just continuing with the run with my child.
Now, just as a little teaser for those of you at home, we're not going to reveal quite what happened on that very lucky day for Jana. So we'll come back to you in a moment. Can I come over to you, Muff, and for you just to tell us about your wonderful company, Teddy Tennis?
Sure, thanks, Lisa. So what we do is we have a Teddy Tennis program that we brought out to Dubai just over a year ago. Teddy Tennis is actually a global tennis program for toddlers between 2 to 6 years old, and it serves to be an introduction to tennis for children, but also it's much more than that in terms of how we get to help the overall development of the child. We focus on a lot of there's technical elements in terms of building the foundation in the sport, but it's also got a very big focus on developing their cognitive skills as well.
So is it just tennis, or are there any other sports skills that the children can learn from you?
So a lot of the games and the drills that we play focus on developing a wide range of skills that the children can then use, and they're translatable to other sports as well, such as hand-eye coordination, their communication skills, their reaction times, their spatial awareness, and general teamwork skills as well.
So, Jana, so we come back to you. We still haven't revealed the story of that amazing day when you got awarded a large sum of money. We'll just hold on to that in just a moment. But I just want to ask you, as someone who's been involved in sport, why do you think exercise, obviously, we can know what the benefits are, but why do you think exercise is important within a family?
Well, it's very important because it keeps the bond together. You have fun together. And then you spend time together as well, which is difficult sometimes, to have this time as a family, and enjoy together. Of course, other than that, there are many other benefits from the sport, which is like the social part of it, the friendship, the well-being, physical and mental health, and then empowering the children with their skills, reducing stress, making them easy to deal with problem solving, teamwork, and many other things.
But now I love the story once you told me about. Now Yasmin was a student in my school, so I know her quite well, and I know she's a very, very lively and active little person. So I was always inspired about the way that you told me that your husband built something in the front room to help with that activity and keep her active. What was that?
Yes, basically he built something like an assault course when she has to move around the room without touching the ground. So she would move from one object to another without going to the ground.
So the game was just to keep active, keep moving, keep jumping.
Moving, and the goal was just not to go to the ground. So from a table to a chair to another piece of furniture throughout the room.
And you didn't mind that then in your front room? You weren't sort of out fluffing up the cushions. And, keep them busy. But so I think that's an interesting point, Muff. I don't know, what you think about that. Is that I know that your company is Teddy Tennis, and so you do a lot of tennis, but there are so many different ways in which we can capture children's imagination with keeping fit. What would you say to that?
Absolutely. I think it's really important to keep the activities as fun and engaging as possible. When you get a child to come to an activity where they believe they're going to be having a lot of fun, they enjoy the environment, they feel comfortable being where they are, and they also can communicate in a positive manner with the responsible adult, whether it be a teacher or a coach, as well as their peers. They want to be there, and then they're going to have a lot more fun. They'll feel more inspired to exercise and play a sport. But more than that, when a child, and this I guess relates to both children and adults, to be honest, when you want to be there, you show a greater willingness to learn and to listen as well.
Yes, no, and I would completely agree with that. In our school, we followed the method of, child-initiated interest on all things, really. So it would be like I might want to teach a maths topic of, I don't know, more or less, but I could use dinosaurs and go into that, telling them that we're going to talk about dinosaurs today, but actually they don't even like dinosaurs. So I quickly might need to switch it to pirate play, isn't it? It's about capturing that interest.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So in addition to Teddy Tennis, we also have a football program as well called Little Kickers, and one of our most popular games is called Pirate Ships. And the concept of that game, for example, is the children have to take their ball from one island to another and cross a dangerous sea where there's going to be a pirate, and they have to avoid the pirate. So it's about
all the crocodiles that snap at their legs or something.
Exactly, and it's about creating a fun scenario for the kids to sort of buy into. So, and the optics of it sometimes seem childish or seem playful, but actually what we're doing is we're teaching them a really important skill through disguising the game. So for the kids, they're getting, they're going across a dangerous sea.
But we're terrible trickers, aren't we, teachers? There they are. The children think they're having a marvellous time being pirates, but actually you're stretching their limbs, getting their gross motor skills going. But isn't that what we do when we're teaching?
Absolutely, and we have a running joke in our team that we actually trick our kids into playing football and tennis. For that specific example, for example, that's teaching a kid how to dribble a ball while keeping their head up, which is actually a very important skill to have, but they don't actually realize they're doing that. And it's we say that the best way to get a kid involved is to disguise the activity.
Yes. And also, what's nice there is you've got that opportunity for teamwork of you're all together and you've all got to work out the way in which to get across the dangerous sea to the pirate ship. And so you create that sense of community and teamwork. Now, listen, we're just going to pop out to another little break. So stay with us, keep us company at 102 Pearl FM, and we'll be right back, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Stay tuned to Happy Families with Principal Lisa. Keep it locked to 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Welcome back to Happy Families with Principal Lisa. You're listening to 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE. It's great to have you on board with us, and we're joined in the show today by two fabulous people. I'm joined by Jana, who's a mum of a little girl called Yasmin, and she's a very, very sporty mum who doesn't let pushing a buggy on a racetrack get in her way. And also by Muff, who is the owner of a fabulous sports company called Teddy Tennis and Little Kickers. So we'll carry on where we left off. So what stories have you found of children who've made some progress with their fitness in the classes that you run, Muff?
So we currently coach over 250 kids a week. So we see a wide range of different abilities, different fitness levels across quite a spread out age categories. What I would say in terms of fitness-related improvements and progress, a lot of it has to do with their stamina. So our classes are 45 minutes, and usually when we have a new kid join, they struggle to get through the 45 minutes. And towards the end of the class, you get a lot of, I'm tired.
Can I go home now?
Exactly. Where's my mom? But what we do see is after 6 or 7 sessions, that whole approach and attitude changes to the point where after the 45 minutes, it's a case of, can we play one more game? So we see that on a fitness level improve massively. I would say a couple of specific feedbacks that we've had from parents is that they've seen an improvement in their kids' performances at their school sports days, for example, or just generally in their play dates with their friends as well. But to be honest, Lisa, the most of the progress that we see is less to do per se for fitness and more to see on their other qualities, such as...
But I think, yeah, you're right.
Such as a lot of the feedback, and I wish I had I could quote them for you right now, is that it's to do with their confidence. To do with their communication skills, how they've sort of opened up. They're a lot more chatty. They're participating more. They're coming out of their shells. But we see that there's a lot of cognitive benefits to sport at this age, in particular, relative to their fitness developments.
So what you're saying is that it begins perhaps with sport. It begins with those pirate games that we were talking about a moment ago, but actually it becomes much wider, much bigger, and really quite exciting, the impact that it has on children. But Jana, we were talking earlier about I know that Yasmin's going to an athletics club, and you had a conversation with the coach about lung capacity. What was that?
Yes, the coach at Ultimate Athletics was saying that when they start sports as young children, their lung capacity increases a lot, and then they can do better at any other sports in life they choose as they get older. They just bring that lung capacity. They build their bone strength and stamina and everything at that age, and that sets them for life. Like, they're better athletes when they grow up as well.
And we've been doing the show for a while now, and we started the journey of this show talking about that children's cells were producing now, and so therefore we've got to give them the best nutrition, the best food we can possibly give them. And then here we are now on the show talking about how by getting them involved in sport helps to increase that lung capacity. a lot of these things really do impact children, don't they? You know, as they move on into adulthood. But you know, we talk a lot about on this show about embracing families who have children of determination, and I know in our nursery it's a huge passion of ours, and we try to be as inclusive as we possibly can. You know, Muff, can I ask you about what your experience has been about differentiating your sports sessions so that you can include children with extra needs?
Absolutely, Lisa. Personally, I'm a big believer that sport is for everyone, irrespective of age, background, and particularly ability as well. We have quite a few children of determination enrolled in our programs, and while we do, of course, perhaps adjust our exercises sometimes to cater for their physical abilities, our cognitive objectives and goals remain the same and subsequently are achieved in terms of them, you know, having fun, increasing their confidence, being able to participate with other children and communicate with the other children and their coaches. So we do achieve all this.
And also those social skills of turn taking, watching, supporting, whatever. I mean, we have tennis every week in our nursery, and I know that because we've got children in our nursery who are physically challenged, we've had to think quite widely in how we get involved, and they've really enjoyed it. But it has taken quite a talented coach. What would you say to perhaps coaches or teachers out there about differentiation, how important it is and what they can do?
Well said, and it's been a pleasure running the sessions at your nursery, and I think you guys have done a great job in terms of including everybody into the class, all the children across the board. And my advice to teachers and parents would be just to go for it, to not shy away of the task, and of course in terms of the health and safety there always has to be particular measures towards it, but what I would say is that the benefits of that participation are incredible. Like, for example, when the child of determination is carrying out the activity, what you all of a sudden see is all their peers are actually supporting them, and actually you're so proud of them that they're being able to participate in that activity, whereas maybe in the classroom they can't participate on a particular lesson or task there. But if that child is being able to achieve that same task in a sporting environment where the energy is slightly different and it's a sort of team activity to achieving an objective, it's incredible. They're all clapping, they're all cheering, and that's amazing.
But what
to
about
see.
people who aren't very good at sport? Now, the truth is, Muff and Yana, is I'm really terrible at sport. I was the girl in the school, when you pick a team, don't you? And you decide, and it's an awful thing to do. I was literally the last person to get picked. If there was a ball to be thrown, I would drop it, So, did you enjoy sport, was as a child, Yana, I know that you came to sport with your running, but did you enjoy sport as a child?
Yes, I loved all the physical activities at school. You had the jumping over the, I'm not very good in English of all the names
Hurdles?
of those things. No, when you jump over that
high jump?
No.
Well,
It's gymnastics. It's gymnastics.
Oh, no, I know, like a box.
Yeah.
Yeah, gymnastics.
We had a lot of gymnastics exercises, and I loved all of them. I'm still very flexible because of those years, and my hand-eye coordination and things is good because of that.
But I wanted to be good at sport, in particular, Mr. Teddy Tennis. I wanted to be good at tennis. And in fact, I've got one of my old school reports that says, Lisa is an enthusiastic participator, but she has a very lazy serve. How important do you think it is that we encourage children that just might not be very good at it?
First off, I would love to see this lazy serve. I'm not quite sure what that
for
looks
those
like.
watching at home, I shall demonstrate for those here just something very lazy that just didn't quite hit the mark.
So, to be honest with you, Lisa, we don't actually have a sort of competition level in our classes. It's pretty much we support participation as opposed to acknowledge the winners, if that makes sense. So it's all about, the fact that you're there, that you're participating, and that you're involved.
You're part of the group.
Exactly.
Winning's not important.
And we try to make a conscious effort of if there is an activity, for example, a race, and there's 4 kids running, say, for example, and the winner, one of the kids, crosses the finish line first. What we do is we acknowledge them. So we don't vocally say, "Oh, well done, we've got a winner." We go up to that child and give them a high five, or give them a nod, or give them a smile,
I like that.
whilst we are vocally encouraging the other kids to, let's go guys, you're almost there, well done, that's really good speed. So the winner still gets a confidence boost of them being acknowledged as being the first and being the fastest, but the other kids aren't necessarily aware of that. And
so the Lisas in the class still get a high five.
Absolutely.
We've got a running track in our nursery, and do you know what's really interesting? Jana and I worked together, and this was her passion, putting in the running track. But the children don't seem to want to get to the finish line. They just keep going round and round and round, and they just want to take part. But now listen, we're going to go for a break, and we'll come back in just a moment. And we're going to be talking a little more, sharing some of our tips about getting active within your families, and we will eventually be revealing the story of Miss Jana and the buggy, and the applause and the accolade that she received from the UAE. Keep it at 102 Pearl FM, the #1 fun station in the UAE.
You are listening to Happy Families with Principal Lisa, only on 102 Pearl FM, the #1 fun station in the UAE.
Hi, welcome back to Happy Families with Principal Lisa. I'm Lisa, and I'm joined on the show today by Jana and Muff. And we've been discussing exercise, fitness, sport with children. And so, welcome back to the show, Muff and Jana. And I just wanted to ask you, how much exercise do you think children should have every day? So we've talked a lot about kind of group activities, but what about just within the families and just individuals? What do you think, Jana?
I think that the children should be active and outdoor at least for 60 minutes a day, where they're either in a playground or riding a bicycle or doing some kind of physical activity. And for me, it's important if it's outdoors.
And we've talked on the show before about how that there's a high precedence of vitamin D deficiency in the UAE, and one of our guests talked about how children, should run around bare feet on the sand, and that this is a great way to gain vitamin D.
Yes.
But obviously in the summer months it kind of drives us indoors, but
yes.
During the winter it's an amazing abundance of different things, isn't there, that we can do. In the UK we have a program that we use in education called Fit for Life, and they talk about getting children active for at least an hour a day. Now, often on our school programs in the UK there isn't an exercise program for 60 minutes every day, so it is about doing those things outside of school. So you have a little girl called Yasmin, who's 4.5. So how would you incorporate those 60 minutes into her life?
Well, we always make sure that we go outside, either in a park or on the beach or in the running track, somewhere like in the Nado Shiba, or somewhere where we can actually get active. I always have her bicycle in the car or her scooter, or we just go in the playground and we make sure we spend time outdoors.
And I actually remember a time when you were telling me about how that she'd wanted to ride her bike so much and it was so hot outside, she'd ended up getting a bit dehydrated. So, you'd really been determined about it.
Yes, one time actually I was looking forward to finish the end of the track because we were stuck in the middle of it and with no water, and we just had to push until the end just to make it through because it was getting a bit hot. We didn't realize it was so hot.
But,
at the time.
that kind of thing is does help to build a bit of resilience too. But it's part of our life here, isn't it? About keeping hydrated. But so how much exercise do we think that children need at various ages? I mean, very small children would need less than older and bigger children. But you've enrolled Yasmin in an athletics program, but she was quite young when she went, wasn't she?
Yes, it's for toddlers. Basically, I feel the amount of time is not as important as maybe the intensity and how serious, the coaching is depending on the age. But I think the time is the same.
Yeah. And so, Muff, I know that you said earlier that you have 250 children coming to you to participate in sport every single week. What's the youngest participator that you have?
I think the youngest participators are probably with you, Lisa, to be honest.
There's no stopping the children in our school.
But generally speaking, the youngest ones are around 2 years old on average, the younger ones. In my opinion, I think get as much exercise as you can. There are loads of studies into this, but generally, like Jana said, is a couple hours, at least an hour, if not a couple hours a day is always great. And it doesn't have to necessarily be intensive or continuous, right? It's anything from just even walking to being on your bicycle, or any sort of activity that's just getting them on their feet.
Yeah. And maybe going with what you're doing at the time. I was feeling very proud of myself a couple of weeks ago. I'd gone to the beach. I'm a bit of a fan of some sun and sand and sea, and I thought, well, I need to get moving. My iWatch had said get moving, so I just walked up and down the beach. And to begin with, I thought, oh gosh, I'd rather be laying there. But actually, the more I did it, the more I really, really enjoyed it, until I'd done about 5 ups and downs, and the time had passed. It was really good for kind of mindfulness. You're listening to the sea. It was great to kind of get moving. And because sometimes life gets so busy, doesn't it? That you realise that actually you've not moved. You haven't really done anything. And but so, Jana, but before we reveal your big story, but did either of you take part in the UAE 30-day fitness challenge?
Well, I didn't.
Or you just already fit?
Yes, I already target to move every day. As you said, also watching how many kilometers I move per day. So I always have a target of at least 6 or 7 kilometers a day, the minimum. But I try to incorporate a run at least 4 times a week. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That 30-day fitness challenge really, really inspired me, and I really wanted to take part. So my husband and I started walking on Kite Beach every day at about 5:15. And to begin with, there were loads of us there, and we were like, yeah, we're all part of 30-day fitness. And actually, we've carried it on. Sometimes it can be quite hard to stick at things. Do you play? Actually, we're talking about how you're meant to go to a football match. Is that right, Muff? So you quite like a bit of football, do you?
I do. So I also coach as well, in addition to running the business, because that's just my true passion. I enjoy sport that much that I want to be involved as much as possible. But yeah, I try to outside work, make sure that I keep the tennis and the football at least regularly during the week. I think more than anything, it's just great to sort of. We're moving into, this is quite a common sentiment across people now, is that everything's becoming more virtual, more digital. So it's just nice to disconnect. And I find sport or exercise is a great way to do that. It's still one of the few things that is not. There are a lot of, obviously, ways to enhance exercise through digital means, but it's still one of the purest forms of activity that you can successfully achieve without technology, which is great. So,
for our listeners at home today, Jana, what tips would you give them if perhaps they feel like, I've listened today and, I want to do more with the family, but, I'm on a bit of a budget, or I'm really time poor, I'm so busy with my work. What kind of tips would you give them?
Well, the first thing is you need to want to do that, is the desire of doing it, then you will find the time. It doesn't have to be expensive, it can be free. for example, you have to like the activity. For example, I like running, so I just need a pair of running shoes. That's all I need. And I just go out and run. You can run anywhere. There is a lot of parks, a lot of running tracks. You can choose to run even near around your neighborhood, everywhere. It doesn't have to be in a specific location, or you don't need a partner or a company to do it. You can do it by yourself. You just need 40 to 50 minutes time just to be out, and sometimes by yourself. It's very therapeutic.
Now, thank you so much for sharing those tips. What we're going to do is we're going to take a bit of a short break, and when we come back, we'll be finally asking Jana her success story of fitting in fitness whilst being a young mum. So keep it at 102 Pearl FM. You're listening to Happy Families on the #1 radio station for fun in the UAE.
You are tuned into Happy Families with Principal Lisa, only on 102 Pearl FM, the #1 fun station in the UAE.